You think discipline is just about sticking to a schedule or pushing through a workout when you don't feel like it. But discipline, the kind that forges legends, is something far deeper. It's the invisible armor that separated the samurai from the crowd, the force that transformed ordinary men into living icons of strength, honor, and unshakable resolve. You want to be more than average, right? Then listen closely, because the path you're about to walk demands a kind of discipline without compromise. Let's start with the samurai themselves. These warriors didn't just fight battles with swords, they fought internal wars every single day. Their discipline wasn't born from a desire to impress others or to gain fleeting glory. No, it was rooted in something ancient and profound, the Bushido code. This isn't some dusty set of rules you read once and forget. Bushido is a living, breathing philosophy that commands unwavering loyalty, courage, and above all, honor. It's what carved out a way of life where ordinary warriors dropped their distractions and became extraordinary. You know, ordinary warriors settle for average. They accept excuses and allow distractions to dictate their actions. But the samurai? They embraced a public declaration every day, whether spoken aloud or etched in their hearts, that their practice continues, no matter the cost. This public declaration wasn't about showing off. It was a solemn vow to themselves that they would not waver. They transformed discipline from a chore into a sacred ritual, a daily act of rebellion against mediocrity. But how did they get there? How did these men, just like you and me, forge such unbreakable resolve? It all begins with understanding that discipline is not a punishment, it's a gateway. It's the gateway to freedom, not freedom from rules, but freedom from the chaos that everyday life throws at you. The samurai knew this well. They understood that without mastering yourself, you remain a slave to your impulses, fears, and doubts. Picture this, a samurai waking before dawn, not because someone forced him, but because he had declared a public commitment to the way of the warrior. His practice continues, no matter the howling winds or biting cold. This commitment, this relentless pursuit, is what elevated him above the ordinary. It's the same commitment you must make. Without it, the path will swallow you whole. You might ask, is this level of discipline even possible for me? The answer is yes. But only if you embrace the truth that discipline is not a switch you flip on and off. It's a constant state of being. It's a daily battle against the excuses whispering in your ear. You must be ready to stare those excuses down and say, not today. This is where ordinary warriors fall away. This is where your transformation begins. The Bushido code lays down the foundations for this kind of transformation. It's made up of values that sound simple but cut to the core of what it means to live with purpose. Honor calls you to live with integrity in every action. Courage demands you face your fears instead of running from them. Loyalty binds you to a higher cause than yourself. These aren't just words, they're tools forged in the fire of centuries of trial and error. You see, discipline without compromise means you don't just practice when it's convenient. You don't just follow the code when it suits your mood. You live it in every breath, every decision. That's the power that transformed the samurai from ordinary men into legends. And that's the power waiting for you on the other side of your own struggle. Let's make this personal for a moment. Imagine a man named Raphael. He was just like you, caught in the grind, distracted by the noise of the world, making promises he couldn't keep. He wanted to break free from that cycle, to become more than his circumstances. But the key was in how he embraced the samurai's discipline. He made a public declaration, a vow that his practice continues without compromise. Even when friends doubted him, even when his own mind rebelled, he held on to that vow. People around Raphael would say, "You don't have the time," or "You're being too hard on yourself." But he knew better. He understood that ordinary warriors listen to those voices. Extraordinary warriors don't. They silence the noise with action, fueled by a code that demands more. Raphael's transformation didn't happen overnight. It was forged through countless small moments where he chose discipline over distraction, honor over convenience. Now, you're probably wondering what this looks like in your life. It's not about becoming a samurai in armor swinging a sword. It's about adopting the mindset that made samurai unstoppable. It's about turning discipline into your greatest ally. Think about your daily habits, your routines, your mindset. Are they serving you, or are they chains holding you back? The samurai would say, cut the chains. That's the challenge you face. The beauty of the samurai discipline is that it's adaptable. It's not rigid to the point of breaking you. It's flexible enough to fit your life but unyielding in its core principles. Honor, courage, loyalty, they form the backbone of a system that demands excellence without compromise. When you live by these, you become a force that even the most chaotic world cannot bend. Ask yourself this: are you ready to make a public declaration? Are you prepared to let your practice continue without compromise? Because here's the truth, without that public declaration, discipline is just a wish. It's a vague hope that tomorrow will be better. The samurai knew that hope is a weak foundation. You need a vow, a commitment etched into your soul that no excuse can erode. And here's the catch: discipline isn't just about external actions. It's about mastering the internal battlefield. Your thoughts, your emotions, your impulses, they're the real enemies. The samurai trained their minds as fiercely as their bodies. They understood that the strongest sword is useless without a sharp mind guiding it. So, if you want to harness samurai discipline, you must start inside. This is where most ordinary warriors give up. They try to build discipline by brute force and then wonder why their efforts crumble under pressure. The samurai teach us that true discipline is born from harmony between mind and body, from a code that binds you to your highest self. This is why the Bushido code isn't just ancient history, it's a living guide for anyone who refuses to settle for average. So, what's your next move? Will you settle for the noise and the excuses? Or will you step onto a path few dare to walk? The path where your practice continues without compromise? The path where you transform from ordinary to extraordinary? The samurai didn't ask these questions, they answered them with every breath. Now it's your turn. Remember, the journey starts with a single step, but that step must come from a place of deep commitment. The samurai didn't become legends by accident. They did it by embracing a code that demanded everything and gave them even more in return. You can do the same. But only if you declare it. Only if you vow that your practice continues without compromise. Let this chapter be your awakening. The moment you stop making excuses and start making a public declaration. The moment you understand that discipline isn't a punishment but your greatest freedom. The moment you choose to walk the path of the samurai, not in armor, but in mindset. The way of the warrior who refuses to be ordinary. Now, take a breath and ask yourself one last question before we move forward: will you embrace the Bushido code and let it transform you? Or will you let this opportunity pass like so many others? The choice is yours. But remember this: you are not here to be ordinary. You are here to become extraordinary. And that journey begins with discipline without compromise. Your practice continues. Are you ready to take the first real step?